Well, hello track gang, and welcome to episode 8 for 2026. What's going on this week? Well, it's right over there. But we're going to be still digging into Boeville. Part 3? Stick around. Let's get down to tracks. Okay, track gang, so this is episode 8. It happens to be the 15th of February, 2026. And we're still playing around over here. There has been a couple of things done, pardon me as I move the camera. I'm loving this dolly, although the ring light still vibrates, but that's okay. I think I know why. It'll be another one of those side projects that I'll have to work on, and that means redoing the tripod rig, the way I've got this rigged up where the camera is behind the ring light. Anyway, okay. So actually, last Thursday, I went ahead and I cut out the stairway vestibules and the parts for the elevators, at least the foam core part of it all. And in the process, I was talking to the Sidetrack Sunday gang, and I was trying to come up with an elevator door because I couldn't find one on the 3D print sites. Well, actually, I've been dealing strictly with Thingiverse, but I couldn't find an HO scale elevator door, and I'm like, So I found a picture of an elevator door on Google, and I sent it over, and Bob was messing around with it, and then John number 2 messed around with it, and of the two of them, sorry Bob, I ended up going with John number 2's. Now, caveat is when he sent it over, and I printed out the first one, it was really, really, really thin. In other words, it only did like one layer or one pass. So what I ended up doing is I went in and I took Anycubic slicing proof, and I just kind of raised it. Actually, I just did it through the editor. I thickened it a little bit, and those doors came out great. I printed 6 of them. And why did you need 6? Well, I need 3 for down the passenger platforms, and I need 3 of them up in the station to start off with. There may be more. So that's all done. The parts are over there. I just have to put them together, and I'm not there. I'm going to probably mess with that while I've got something else going on, because what happened yesterday was, yeah, I went ahead and we've de-rigged Boeville Yard, at least part of it. Now, I ran into a problem. Of course, it never fails. This is the base for the roundhouse. Now, this printed out wonderfully. I love the way that printed. The issue is the fellow that designed it actually designed it to be raised so that you could put a road bed up to it. Well, with Boeville Yard, I don't have road bed. Everything is right on the homosote, which presents a problem. It's like, okay, so now how am I going to deal with this? We've been down this road once before, and it has to do with this dude. This is still raised because I never cut it down to fit into the homosote the way it should be. It's actually raised. There is about, I don't know, it's probably close to 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch thick. It's actually the same thickness as the base to the roundhouse. So I'm debating how I'm going to fix this. The thing is there is a lip at the turntable. Okay, fine. So theoretically, if I went out and got some more wedges, you know, there's wedges that you use to level furniture and things of that nature, which I've used quite a bit on this railroad. to level things out. I'm thinking I might go that route and just leave it raised, or, and this would be a little bit tougher, would be to actually cut into the humusite and sink the thing in. That's going to be more of a problem, I think. I think the easier way out is just to go ahead and use the shims or the wedges and get the track to line up the way it's supposed to. That's my thought process at the moment. I've actually got the this is what they call, or what he called the right hand front. I've actually got an intermediate front printing. Once that's done, then I'll print the left hand, because I think I'm only going to use 3 bays. I've been thinking about going to 4, but right now I think I'm just going to do 3 and see what it looks like. Obviously, this is only half of the floor. The other half, obviously, is going to be down here, and that's another piece. So to build the floor, you need 6 pieces, which is kind of cool. That's because of the fact that one piece won't fit on the base of most printers. So anyway, while I've got the other intermediate printing, and then like I said, once it's done, I'm going to print the left. Each one of these pieces takes about 2 hours. So I'm looking at another 2, 4, 6, 8 hours of print, at least for the floor. The walls are another, obviously, the walls, the internal, it's all separate files. It's really nice. And there's been quite a few people that have printed this thing out in HO scale, and some of them have actually even downscaled it to N and Z, and there was one person that upscaled it to S. And I mean, this thing has got some detail to it. If my printer goes ahead and does the job, we'll see. I've been quite happy with it, but we'll see how it turns out. At any rate, so the other thing that I do have to do over here in Boeville Yard is I still have the old tracks for the off the turntable. As you can see here, they're still wired in. I've got to desolder them and pull them or push them through. I have run a locomotive and a car through the reconfiguration, what has been reconfigured, and it works. I do know I've got to clean all three of the new turnouts and the track up into the new car repair shop over there. That all needs to be cleaned, which isn't a big deal. I've got plenty of cleaner, the mineral spirits. And then what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for things to finish printing, we're going to go ahead, desolder the wiring. We're going to probably start working on mocking up the elevators and the stairwells. And the other thing that I'm going to do is get out my electric jigsaw and cut down the 2 pieces for, well, 3 pieces of wood that need to be cut down, the incline, and then the 2 pieces that I want to cut down in front of Boeville Station. So that's the plan for this vlog. Let's see how far let's see how far we get. We'll be back. Every once in a while, a plan, pardon my arm if it shakes, but a plan kind of comes together. I guess in reality, could take this another inch or 2 back, but I don't think I'm going to want to. This side I can't do anything with because, as we talked about before, you've got the 15-inch radius coming in, and of course it stakes up to get to the station, so on and so forth. One thing I did do that I did not mention, I don't think, is the fact that I didn't realize that I didn't glue the pegs in, or the wooden dowels in, that are holding the second deck in alignment. So they're now glued in, and of course when I did that, I also found out that I didn't drill the holes deep enough for the pegs to fit into. So that's all been taken care of. I do have one minor little, I've got to trim this up a little bit. And of course we've already talked about before about putting something across the front of this to keep the crumblies from coming off. I still need to do that. which, like I said, I've got a game plan for that. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, this looks great, Ray, but what are you doing about the front here? I have got old paneling up in the garage that is now on its 4th house, I think, or 5th house. It came from a friend of ours when he went ahead and redid his basement back in the 80s, I think it was. My dad and him tore it off the wall. They saved it. They did a great job. It moved from his house to my parents' house, from my parents' house to my townhome, from my townhome to my mother-in-law's house, from my mother-in-law's house to Oakcroft, from Oakcroft to here. It's well traveled. Unfortunately, it hasn't survived those multiple trips as well as it did the first one. But I am going to utilize that to kind of as a fascia. Now, repurpose, reuse, recycle. Keep the 3 R's in mind here, folks, and just bear with me. That's the reason why I'm doing that, not using masonite or hardwood or something of that nature. It's the reason why I've got that checkered, or that plaid skirting around the upper end of the layout, because that came from the old 13-foot by 11-foot layout. That is actually going to come down. I'm going to get some new stuff. Because when I cut it, it doesn't look right. I may end up reutilizing that, maybe in parts that can't be seen, but in the areas that can be seen, I think I'm going to redo that. But at any rate, that's notwithstanding. We're not there yet. Sheesh. I do like this though. This does give you a chance now to be able to see into what will be the passenger platforms, which will be lit. They're going to be lit, man. I had looked at using a tunnel portal on this end and on this end. The problem with this is it's too big. It doesn't fit. So what I'm actually thinking is I might be able to, since this is on a straightaway, I might be able to cut it down and just have it match up. So I'm going to print 2 more of these and I'm just going to cut them to fit, is what I'm going to do. There is one other thing I did not think about here, and that is when I cut this board, or these boards down, you can see the station platform. So remember how I was just talking about the using, and of course I don't have a piece of it over here, but using the foam core as an edge so that way you don't see the crumblies. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that a little bit deeper over here so that you don't see the wood. So that'll be a part of it. So this here would just, I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. And I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, literally. It may end up being that I go and find some more of this thin particle board that I've got, or MDF, and just lay that in here like it was before, and do it that way to give it a little bit more stability too. That's a possibility. I'll figure something out for these so that you don't see the gap between the plywood and the MDF that's holding up the second deck. So we're making progress. However slow as it is, we're making progress, and that's the name of the game. So I'm going to stop here for a minute, because now I can actually go ahead and lay the tracks back on here and get the wiring done. I'm not going to connect it because I still have to obviously work on the station platforms. So that's going to be next. And then we'll turn around and we'll focus on the other side of the backdrop here, which is Boeville. So we'll be back. All right, track gang. Well, this week kind of got a little derailed. You know, with being on call, I was on a bridge till midnight the other night, so I didn't get anywhere near as much done as I wanted to. However, I can tell you that the tracks are now all soldered on this side. I've dropped feeders, that's all been soldered. I started working on the bus wire for over here. Ran into a slight conundrum, but I believe I've got a fix for that. I'll discuss that more in the next video when I actually get into it, because I'm not going to do it tonight. There is one other little thing that I'll put out there to the community and see what the thoughts are, but I'm thinking instead of having this way out here, I'm actually going to cut it at a 45-degree angle here and also over on this side. I don't know. I'm still debating on that one a little bit, only because of the fact that I mean, this section here is the open area here is very short. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm either going to cut this back at a 45, or I may try to go back over here where I originally was and maybe just follow the tracks over. I don't think that's going to look right though. I think coming in here at a 45, I think will look a little bit better, or I may just leave it alone. I'm not really worried about these marks on here, because these are going to get covered up by the foam core, because it'll be, you know, roadway or what have you will be here. I may end up actually using some grass mat or something like that over here, so this is all going to get covered anyways. It's not going to make that much of a difference. But at any rate, obviously there's going to have to be a lot of cleanup done over here before I can do any type of train running. The first deck is just filled with crumblies and sawdust and all sorts of garbage. And of course, not thinking about it last night, I picked this section up and went to turn it over so I could work on the wiring. And of course, the track spikes are great. The track nails are great. They keep the track in place unless you go ahead and flip it over. So I actually took a piece of foam core and laid it over top and clamped it so that way the track stayed in place when I turned it over. So, but like I said, I mean, I'm quite pleased. I've made quite a bit of progress here. Not as much as, like I said, not as much as I wanted, but it's okay. It is one of those things. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I've been reminded of that a couple of times. Let's go over and take a look at Boeville Yard real quick, because I've got something I want to show you over there. Okay, so I ran into, and of course the Sidetrack Sunday gang is very aware of what I ran into the other night. Actually, last night. I'm actually more to the point a couple nights ago, but I've tried it again, went to print it out and realized I had a problem. The rear sections here, and this is all in pieces. So there's a front section and a rear section that get mated together to give you the floor for the roundhouse. Now, couple of minor problems here. One of them is an easy fix, the other one's not so much. This is somewhat thick. It's probably close to maybe a quarter or 3/16, maybe a quarter-inch thick. The fellow that designed this on Thingiverse did a wonderful job with it. I mean, I haven't printed out the upper structure of this yet, which is going to be the next part, but the program looked really good. The issue is the left and the right rear section, for whatever reason, when I went to put supports underneath of it, because it's hollow, it actually raised the floor up. So when you went and took the supports out, it's separated, and this is what's left of the one portion. I think I've got the other, I don't know what I did with the floor section, but basically that's what you ended up with. Bit of a problem. So I was talking with the STS gang, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to do with this. And then I realized, I'm like, well, wait a second. So I went back to Thingiverse and found out that he actually had another set of floors. Those would have printed fine. The issue is instead of it being a concrete floor, it was mimicked a wood floor, so it wouldn't have matched up and it wouldn't have looked right. So I decided I'm going to take a slightly different route. and I'm printing out 3 of what they consider the intermediate floors. So I've already printed the one for the right hand side, the one for the center. I'm printing out one more for the left. Now, I'm sure it's showing up, but you see there's a bit of a problem. If I leave this as a full section, that's going to get in the way. Not a big deal, not a problem. Why? The locomotives that are going to go into this roundhouse are all below 10 inches long. In fact, most of them are at 8.5 to 9 inches. This is a 9-inch piece of snap track. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to modify this to where it ends at 9 inches. And I'm just going to square this out. So in other words, instead of the back wall being way out here, I'm actually going to move the back wall in. Looking at the inner structure of this thing, the trusses that hold up the roof, I believe that it actually goes to right where the split is, which is perfect. So that means I can modify this a little bit and get it to fit, because I really want a 3-stall roundhouse. I don't want it to be a 2-stall. I'm going to put that back over there because those are going to be for, and then not necessarily those pieces of track, but those will be for the EC1 and the rail bus. I may end up putting one more track over there yet. I haven't decided. Still playing with that. But everything else kind of worked out. Now, I do have a problem over here. And that is the fact that the way that the switches line up, or the turnouts line up over here, they do not line up with the diesel fueling facility, which is a bit of a problem. Now, how are you going to fix that, Ray? That I am not 100% sure on yet. I may end up taking, and I knocked the roof off because eventually I want to put a light in there. And I don't know why I can't get the damn thing back on there straight. There we go. Anyway, I've also messed up a couple of, I broke the 2 uprights loose. I'll have to re-glue them. What I'm probably going to end up having to do is just put some flex track in here so that it lines up a little bit better. I just put a little whoop-de-doo in it, or whatever you want to call it, to get it to line back up right. This track is fine. This track lines up no problem. It's this one over here. Now, theoretically, I probably could maybe make some adjustments here, but number one, there isn't a whole lot of room, and I'm not even sure if that was on camera. There we go. I could probably modify this to bring it over. I don't know, it's probably going to come over. This is the part that stinks. It only has to come over like 1/8 of an inch. Which is probably doable. I could probably modify this thing, get this over just a little bit, and just move this track out just slightly. I really don't need this long. I really don't need this long of a lead, because I'm not using that. I mean, it only needs to be 9 inches out to here, because that's all that's mainly for the locomotives when they come out of the fueling facility to go down and pick up the train to get out of Boeville. So I could probably just get away with a short section here and just move this to the edge of the homosote, and that would bring everything over a little bit. And again, I'm going to have to fiddle and futz with it if I decide to go that route to get it to line up, or I may just, like I said, throw a piece of flex track in there and call it a day. We'll see. The other issue is, and it's been a problem since day one and I haven't fixed it, has been the fact that they want you to use the pegs that are in the on the floor of this thing, and the tracks never did sit in there right. So it's like, I don't know if I want to, I've actually got this wonderful fiber tie flex track that came from Santa Fe Bob. And I was thinking about using this because obviously the ties on this are very thin. And I think it'll fit in there. I just don't know if I want to, I don't know how I want to play with this yet. Again, you know, it's just one of those things, you know, how far do I want to go with it? Because cutting or taking the ties out of the rails just did not work. I mean, I could probably do the same thing I did with the turntable and just glue it to the base, but that never seems to hold. So, and of course now, knock on wood, thankfully the bridge to the turntable, that hasn't come apart, but regardless. I'm gonna call it here. This Sunday is Bob over at PK&W Model Works. He's got some interesting stuff coming up here, folks. You might want to stick around for this one. But then that is the wait a minute, is it Bob? Or is it Rick? I've got to look. Hold on a sec. Hold that thought. Hold the phone. I am. Oh my gosh. Let me see here. What's the... And of course I took it down. Let's see. Photos. Hey, there's February. And it is the 22nd, so it is Bob over at PK&W Model Works. I was right. I should have stuck to my guns. Now I can get out of here. So Bob over at PK&W Model Works this week for Sidetrack Sunday, 8 p.m. U.S. Eastern, you all know. But at any rate, you all know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. Be safe. God bless. We'll catch you all next time. See ya.